This video is about the priority of operations when working with geometric formula. Priority of operations is BEDMAS. We do brackets first, then exponent, then divide and multiply, then add and subtract are last. In Pythagoras Theorem, we have here a right triangle with one side of 6, another side of 3, and we are looking for the length of the hypotenuse. Pythagoras Theorem says hypotenuse squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, with a and b being the length of the other two sides, and a and b being interchangeable. We can do a bit of algebra to Pythagoras Theorem to isolate the h. We will now replace a and b with 6 and 3. And it is at this point that we have to be careful of the order of operations. These are exponents, the squaring of these values. An exponent has to be done before multiply in BEDMAS. So I have to square the 6 and square the 3 first in order to avoid making a mistake. 6 squared is 36, 3 squared is 9. And now I can add the numbers together safely. 36 plus 9 is 45. My hypotenuse is the square root of 45, which is 6.7, if I round to the nearest tenth, units in length. No unit was given in the question, so I use the word units as my unit. In this example, I'm looking for the area of this circle, which has a radius of 10 meters. The area formula is area equals pi r squared, and we are using 3.1416 for pi. In BEDMAS, exponent happens before multiply. We have to square this 10 before we multiply it by the 3.1416. Therefore, we get 3.1416 times 100, and our answer for the area of this circle will be 314.16 meters squared, because area units are always squared. But what happens if we don't follow this rule? What happens if we apply these operations in the wrong order? I have seen students make mistakes, and when I tried to figure out why their answer was wrong, I realized that they had done this. Area equals pi r squared, as if the pi and the r were in a bracket, and then we were squaring the answer. This is not what the formula wants us to do, but if we were to do this, we would get 3.1416 times 10, and then we would square the answer. We would have 31.416 squared and that gives us an answer of 986.97 if I were to round to the nearest hundredth. You can see there is quite a big difference between this wrong answer and this right answer. So make sure that when you are applying geometric formulas, you follow the order of operations, and in this case, you square the radius before you multiply. Here is another example of a geometric formula which has r squared in it, in which we have to be careful to follow the rules of BEDMAS and square the radius before multiplying. We are using 3.1416 for pi. Our radius here is 2 meters, and our height is 7 meters. We have to make sure to square the 2 and get 4 before we multiply anything, instead of squaring later, to avoid mistakes. When we multiply out these numbers, we get 87.9648, and I will round it to the nearest hundredth. So therefore 87.96. The distance unit was meters, so the volume unit will be meters cubed.